Okay, I think we are almost. Ah, yes, it's 8 o'clock London time, and a hugely warm welcome to How to Potty Train Your Child Without Tears, Frustration, and Lots of Mess. And I am Camilla McGill. So let's jump straight in. So I'm Camilla McGill, and I'm founder of My Parenting Solutions. And I'm also a mother of 4 children. And I think, as any of us as parents probably feel, a great pride in having, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'm sure you, as much as I do, take a pride in your children. So there they are on the left, a long time ago, where my youngest Alice was a baby. Then there's Nico, Scarlett, and Felix. And in the center there was them with me last year on my birthday. So they range between the ages of 14 and 21. And like I say, I'm a very proud mother. So if you've just joined, a really warm welcome. And we've got lots to cover tonight all about potty training, how to make it without the frustration and the tears and the mess. So let me just ask you if this describes you. So does this describe why you've joined the call tonight? Maybe you're feeling my child just isn't interested, and I'm not really sure how I can get him or her interested. Or maybe you've started potty training, but you're not sure how well it's going. Maybe they've got one and not the other, so maybe they're doing wees and not poos, or vice versa, and you're looking for some ideas. So stay with me, because there's lots here. Maybe you've got the pressure of your child starting nursery or starting big school, and it's the pressures, you're feeling the pressure increasing as time goes on. Or maybe you feel that you're worried that you've left it too late and it's just going to be really impossible. So you don't know quite what to do about that. Maybe this describes you. I think all of us as parents have this feeling sometimes we're just too busy. And because you're very busy, you're postponing starting the potty training. You're trying to do the ironing, feed the cat, walk the dog, just like this woman here. Or maybe you're thinking, should I start? Is my child too young? So what I'd love you to do is you'll see the chat box to your right and messages down there at the bottom. I see them all. It says Camilla, it says admin, but it's coming to me. So tell me who you are, tell me your name and your first name, last name, because sometimes, particularly if you've got a common name, there'll be 2 of you. So it'd be great if you've got a reasonably common name, put your last name and tell me where you're coming in from. That would be great. So I will see those messages in admin. So maybe this is you're thinking, is it too early to start? Well, I don't know, because I don't know what stage your child's at, and I'll be coming on to that in a minute. But I'm hoping that you'll get some great ideas, whatever age your child is. Denny is saying unable to connect. Denny, I don't know if that's because you can't hear me or whether that's your internet connection, but I'm hoping that others, great. Okay, there's some others coming on. So Rebecca, yep, Alison, lovely. Great. Okay. So, Danny, I hope you'll solve your connection problem. And I'm going to be taking questions at the end. So stick with me. I will be asking you questions from the end. We've got people coming from all over the world. We've got South Africa. It's great. Tell me where else you're from. We've got America. We've got Ireland. Lovely. Okay. So I get people writing into me all the time, telling me, thanking me, which is a really lovely feeling. And Harriet wrote to me not so long ago, and she told me that she felt I was a genius. She had been, it's always nice to be told that, isn't it? She'd been struggling. She was one of these cases where it looked like her child was going to just take to it really, really easily, because she'd done some wheeze on the potty and she seemed like she was completely ready, and it didn't work like that at all in the end. And Harriet said, after having 6 months of misery, She started to work with me, use the processes that I taught her. And she said, she'd been following my advice and things instantly got better. Ellie, her daughter, I've changed the names. Ellie, her daughter, responded really well to everything. So they had a completely dry week at nursery, and she's only had a couple of wee accidents since. And she felt, Harriet just felt so grateful because she can't believe what small changes made such a difference. And here's a really lovely part. She said, enjoy parenting again and enjoying her daughter more. So that's lovely to hear. But I want to tell you, and please, if you've just joined, tell me where you're from and your name. So how did this come about? So I'm the founder of My Parenting Solutions, and I've been working in parenting for almost 20 years. And when my son Felix was about 2 3/4, I had been working in parenting, but I hadn't touched on the whole area of potty training in my training and the advice that I was giving to parents. So I had just had my baby Scarlett, and she was about a week old. And in my pregnancy fog, I just thought, oh, well, I'm sitting around a lot at home. Wouldn't that be a good time to potty train him? And he was also starting nursery school. So without any preparation, I just decided that it would be nappies off, sort of like jumping into the deep end of swimming pool and expecting a child to swim. So I took his nappies off. I found a potty that I'd used before for my previous child. I found some pants, underwear, and off we set. But it really wasn't off we set. He just didn't get it. There was mess all over the house. He was not cooperating. He was being very defiant and difficult, and we really weren't progressing at all. So anyway, one day my father very kindly offered to take my children, leaving me with my elder son and Felix, leaving me with the baby. And I thought that sounded great. So off they went, and I sat down. Baby was asleep. Read a magazine, had a cup of tea, and lo and behold, I get a phone call saying, I can see Sharma's unable to connect. Sharma, I hope that you can try again, or maybe just hear me. That will be your internet connection rather than mine, I'm afraid. So I get this phone call, and my father says, Felix is hysterical. He needs to come home. And I said, oh no, what's happened? Well, he did a poo. I didn't see it. I trod in it. Then the dog trod in it. The cat's sniffing around. And so there's a mess all over the house, and he's really, really unhappy, and he wants to come home. So I went and I picked him up and cleared up the mess before I left and came home. And then we decided, we thought we'd take a different tack and we'd try rewarding him. So people had said that rewards are good. So we tried Smarties, and all he did was scream for the Smarties, but he didn't do the wheeze and poos where he needed to. Then we tried threats. If you don't perform on the potty, then you won't be able to come out to the park. That didn't work. Then we tried punishments. Right, you can't have television because you haven't cooperated with us. So it just was going round and round in circles, and it wasn't working at all. Until one day he'd gone to bed, and I picked up a magazine, and there was an article in the magazine about teaching children the importance of the mind-body connection. So helping them understand how their mind controls their body and the messages that their body gives to their brain or their mind. And suddenly something clicked. I mean, first of all, what clicked is that I'd been going about it in the wrong way and trying to motivate him in the wrong way. But the other thing that clicked is he really just hadn't understood the process of elimination. He hadn't understood what was actually going on for him. So from then on, everything changed, and he gained confidence because he understood what he needed to do, and he did go to the toilet, and he did do, wheeze and poos in the right place. And he also became much more cooperative, which was really great, because this is a very active and strong-willed child. He started nursery, and he became so much more independent, and he happily used the toilet at nursery, and there he is at nursery. And he just became so much more relaxed, confident in himself and relaxed. And that's what I hope that you can see is such a great way of potty training. And there he was. He used to like to put a clean pull-up over his head because he used to wear the pull-ups still at night. And he liked to call himself an astronaut. So there's my little child who'd been miserable and became confident, relaxed and motivated. And here he is now. He's 19 and a really gorgeous boy studying at university. So listen, stay with me if you want to have a gentle approach to get potty training right. If you're an active and involved parent, that doesn't mean to say that you're a stay-at-home parent. You can be a happily working parent, but you're active and involved and you like to think about your children and think about the best ways to raise them. If you want to learn more about positively connecting with your child, if you want techniques for the future, and this is not just about potty training, and you'll see why. And if you want the process to be happy and successful. So if that's you, give me a yes in the chat box. And if you've recently joined, the chat box is at the bottom on the right-hand side of your page. Type in your name and tell me yes if that's if this is you. If you're that kind of parent, then just give me a yes. Okay, great. Lots of yeses coming up here. Now listen, this is not for you if you're after a quick fix. If you feel that kids just need to be told what to do, if you're not interested in emotional, touchy-feely parenting, if you just want a one-size-fits-all approach, and if you think that punishment works or will work around potty training, then this isn't for you. So I'd say stay on the call if the previous slide was kind of represented who you are. But if this slide represents who you are, then this isn't for you. Okay, so great. I've got loads of yeses and great to hear from you all. So this is what we're covering today. We're talking about potty training being about stage, not age. So write that one down, stage, not age. And that's understanding what stage your child is at. We're also looking at the power of preparation. This is where I went so badly wrong. I just jumped in without any preparation at all, partly because I'd had a new baby and I thought I had the time for it. So even if you've started already, we'll still be looking at the power of preparation. And we're also looking at something that's really key to the work that I do is partnership, working in partnership. So that's a really important thing to think about and write. Partnership makes successful parenting. And also the 4 pitfalls to avoid to ensure you're successful. And tell me if you can hear me okay. I know some of you got connection problems, but hopefully and if you can't, then tell me and I'll speak louder. So another client said to me, and again, somebody that really had a difficulty, her child was withholding his wheeze, just wouldn't wee in a potty, and even without a nappy he was withholding them, so it's becoming a real problem. And she said, we've had a breakthrough and we thought we'd never get there, so thank you. Jack just decided to wee without a nappy at nursery, and then over the weekend he did the same at home and out of the house, and he seems extremely happy with himself, which is great. Your advice has been invaluable. We were at the end of our tether about the whole process, and it was brilliant to get some calm reassurance and practical steps. So as I said earlier, you may not have heard this, children are unpredictable, and this child they thought was going to be a doddle with it, and he wasn't, but they got the help and it made a huge difference. So what I want to talk to you, everything that underpins the work that I do is about clarity, simplicity, and results. Nothing too complex, but it's researched and it's thoroughly researched, and I'm looking to get you results in a clear way. So I have to say for the legal side of things, as a disclaimer, that the results aren't the same for everyone. So there's no guarantees that your child will respond in exactly the same way that I've described. But actually, I think you probably know that because children are all different. So point number one, how to overcome the age trap. And a big welcome if you've just joined, and say hi in the chat box and put your name. So how to overcome the age trap and understand the stage that your child is at. So let's think about this. When did your child first learn to walk? I suspect if it's your first-time parent, that if you join this call as a first-time parent, that you were really at that point looking around to see what other children were doing. And if your child wasn't walking, you may have thought, is there something wrong? But I think you probably soon understood that they do all develop at different stages. And I suspect that you were really motivating to, when you saw some signs that your child was ready to walk, that you motivated him or her, that you perhaps held her hand to help her to walk. Maybe you provided a little push-along cart. Maybe you cleared the way so she wouldn't fall or hurt herself. So you worked in collaboration to help your child walk. And some children just get up and walk, but I suspect that you did some things to help. But if she wasn't ready or he wasn't ready, there's no way you could have forced her to walk. And we need to think about potty training in this context. It's about stage, not age, but you are going to be working in partnership, and you can motivate and you can do things to help your child get ready. Also thinking about stage, not age, I want to ask you, who's putting the pressure on you, and or are you putting pressure on your child? And therefore, what's the result? Now, I suspect if you are putting pressure on your child, the result isn't very good, because children tend to not respond well to pressure. And when we put pressure on ourselves, we tend to respond to life in a different way. We get stressed about things, we get anxious about things. And I'd like you to think about taking the pressure off yourself. That doesn't mean to say you don't have a goal, but taking the pressure off yourself. Is your child actually ready and you haven't realized? Now, you may be one of those people. Maybe you haven't really noticed the signs, or maybe you're nervous about actually going for this process. But your child may be good and ready and you haven't realized. So are they ready physically, emotionally, and cognitively? So this is how we're going to start to tell the signs of readiness. So physically, what can they do for themselves? Can they jump? Can they hop? Things like that, when you know that they've got quite good capability. Are they aware of their physical needs? Things like hunger and thirst. Those are some of the signs. Emotionally, what's their temperament like? Do they want to learn from you? Do they like to learn from others? Do they like to copy? Are they curious? Are they curious about you using the toilet or others using the toilet? So emotionally, is your child a kind of an independent child that wants to progress? And cognitively, what concepts are they getting? Can they get the concept of that where wees and poos should go, where adults wee and poo? Can they get the concept of using a potty? Can they get the concept of being without a nappy? So those are the kind of things, if you want to think about some signs of readiness, physical, emotional, and cognitive signs are going to be your indicators. And somebody else wrote to me saying I'd worked with her, and she said, I was really reluctant to start potty training because she feared it was going to be too difficult and stressful. But she got my help and to prepare properly, and she understood how to motivate her child. And she thought that her child wouldn't be ready because she was only 2 1/4. But my help made the process so smoothly, and it was much faster than she expected. So if we're talking about age, I really don't like to bracket children, but it's generally between the ages of 2 is early, and 2 to 4 is the ages that we're looking at. 4 is you're probably starting to really think you're never going to get it. And 2, I'd say, was quite early. We're not talking about early potty training here, which is what's in our country is known as elimination communication. This is about working collaboratively collaboratively with your child. Steve Biddulph, who's written a lot of books, wrote "Rushing is the enemy of love." So we want to think about motivation, but not rushing our children. And the benefits of preparation. So this is the second point that I want to come on to, is why preparation is so important. So, and say hi to me if you've just joined. You will be able to ask questions at the end. So make sure that you've got your questions ready in the chat box, but tell me your name and a hi if you're on the call with me. So why is preparation around potty training so important? Well, for those of you that heard the beginning, when I didn't prepare at all with my child, things can go badly wrong when you don't prepare a child. And preparation is one of your keys to success. So if you think about other areas where you prepare, maybe going on a trip, if you want to make that trip successful with a young child, you pretty much know by now, I'm pretty sure, that you need to take some water with you. You need to take some snacks with you. Maybe you need to make sure that the journey isn't going to be too long, or that your child can have a nap on the way, or maybe they need a nap before you make the trip. So you're thinking ahead, and when you think ahead, things just go so much more smoothly. And if you make that trip spontaneously, you run out the house, you grab your child, maybe your child was playing and didn't want to leave, things can go very badly wrong. And I'll often say it's like dragging a dog around the block who doesn't want to go for a walk. They dig their heels in. So preparation is really important with potty training. And Isabel wrote to say, you not only taught me how to successfully potty train my son, but you gave me a belief in myself and a boost of confidence as a parent, which was invaluable. So confidence is really important as a parent. And I'm going to show you something later on, which will show you why it's so important. But it's also about being prepared and feeling informed as a parent. That helps you feel confident. So the other part of the power of preparation is about getting the timing right. And parents will often ask me this, when is the timing right? Well, what I'm all about is helping you use your judgment, helping you as a parent use your intuition, giving you a tool bag so that you know that you've got the tools to be able to be aware of when the timing is right, and also help to prepare your child for the right timing. It's not necessarily seasonal. People will often say to me, summer's a good time. Yes, it can be, but equally, if your child's really too young or not ready in the summer, then winter can be just as successful. Timing is also about getting the timing right for your child. So, you know, when they're physically, emotionally, and cognitively ready for potty training, that's to do with timing. So that's about getting the timing right, and use your judgment and be informed is what I'd say about that. Have I started too soon? Well, not necessarily, because it may be that you've just motivated in the wrong way, or you've launched into it too quickly without doing some of the preparing things. That doesn't mean to say that you need to stop, but you might need to review and go back to some of the preparation steps to help make sure that your child's on board. So, but it doesn't necessarily mean to say that you need to stop. It might, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. Now, I mentioned this before when I talked about the impact of your stress on your child. This is your child. So just make the note, sponge. Your child is a sponge for you. They are sponges for us. Who recognizes your own voice coming out of the mouth of your child? And very often it's things like, I've told you 100 times, mummy. Or they might say, don't tell me what to do, or words to that effect. So, and then we know how much we've influenced them. But the good news is that we also influence them for the good. So our stress will influence them because they're absorbing it, but also our positivity and our calmness will influence them. So really think of yourself as a sponge, and that will help you. Think of your child as a sponge, and that's going to help you steer much more towards the positive, because you'll know that they are absorbing all of you. The power of preparation also improves your chances of success. So, you know, like I talked about a successful trip, when the child is successfully prepared for potty training, then they are going to be, your chances of success are vastly improved. So just again, say hi and give me your name in the chat box. I'll see it. It says admin. Preparation also builds confidence in the child, because when a child feels prepared, they feel good about themselves, they feel able, and they feel confident. So that's an important part of your preparation. The power of preparation is also about feeling informed, feeling positive, and feeling calm. So when you and actually your child are feeling calm, that is really going to be a successful part of your preparation. When you feel informed, you're going to feel much more positive. And I love this picture of the Zen zebra, who, you know, that's like us thinking, yes, I know what to do, and I'm feeling really calm about this whole process. Preparation will significantly reduce resistance. And some of you may have started and be encountering resistance, and some of you may encounter it if you get it wrong. So when your child, I picked out this picture of the deer locking antlers. That's what happens when you meet your child's resistance. If you meet resistance with resistance, you lock anchors. So we don't want to do that. We want to engage them. And we're going to see more about that in a second. So here are my 6 steps to great preparation. Now, there is, I think I mentioned, a process called elimination communication, which is about observing very early signs. Now, I don't talk about that, but there you may be that you're wanting to start very early, and in which case you're going to be looking between the age of 2 and 4. So what are they communicating about wheeze and poos? When you look closely, you will actually see more than you realize. Little girl is crossing her legs. That's one of the key signs, but there's also signs, other signs you might changes, things in their eyes. You might see a little shudder hopping around. That's one of the classic ones from you might see them clutching. Those are some of the ways that they will communicate to you about wheeze and poos. They may be telling you, they may be already telling you, but it's what you need to know is before they've done something. That's when they're really starting to get ready, is if they start to tell you before they do a wee or a poo. And another great step to preparation is getting the right equipment. Now, this isn't necessarily about getting expensive equipment, but it's equipment that fits the child. So I happen to really like Baby Bjorn potties, and stay on the line, because at the end I'll be talking to you about how to win yourself one of those Baby Bjorn potties or a toilet seat insert. Also, so it's about the right fit. If a potty wobbles, could easily frighten your child. If they're going straight to using the toilet, make sure that they can step up there okay, that they can sit comfortably, they're not frightened of falling in. Something like a potette is great for going out. That's like a travel potty. You don't have to have it, but it can really help your child be comfortable weeing and pooing out of the house. And some great books. So I happen to love this book, I Want My Potty, by someone called Tony Ross. But books that are written for your children, they're going to engage them and interest them. And try, maybe a book of their favorite character you might be able to find, but books are great. So getting the right equipment and books is a great part of your preparation. Getting the environment right. Now, if a bathroom if you're going to be using just the bathroom for your child, if it's too hot, if it's stuffy, if it's too cold, if it feels too crowded for them, if it doesn't smell right, those can be influencing them. If your child is more comfortable sitting on a potty, where should you put it? Maybe that potty needs to be near to you when you're preparing food. Maybe they like a bit of space. Thinking about things like that, about getting the environment right, is really important. And investing in psychological preparation. I've touched on this already. But again, a client wrote to me saying, thank you so much for making sure I took the time with my son over preparing him psychologically, she meant, for the potty. We talked in advance with him about what to expect, and we waited till the baby was a few weeks old. It all paid off as it became such an enjoyable process. And in fact, for her, it was also very quick. But she did spend a good 2 or 3 weeks doing the preparation work. So that's a really great part of your 6 steps to preparation. And also doing the physical practice, pants on and off and up and down, and wearing nice, easy clothes for them to get on and off, so that when it comes to them using the toilet or the potty independently, they can do that successfully. They don't feel stressed by it in any way, because their clothes are easy to get on and off. So, but the practice, not when they're like desperate and hopping to do a wee, but beforehand, getting them to just feel comfortable with that whole process is a great step to preparation. And also explaining the process of elimination. So what happens to the food, where it goes, where it comes out, and why. That's really important for them, and children love this. This is, I mentioned earlier about explaining that to my child. When children understand the process of elimination, it really helps reduce the resistance, and it helps to get them on board. And working with the brain-body connection. So explaining to them about their brain and what's going on and what happens in the body. And children love that science, and they really love to know what's going on inside them and how it all works and what the brain's doing. So those are really, you might want to write this down, because this is really key. Positive communication equals successful cooperation, and with potty training and beyond. So this isn't just about potty training. When you get your communication positively with your child, when they like what you're saying to them, they want to listen to it, that will get you successful cooperation. Children love to be praised, and praising descriptively any stage of the process is going to be so important for you. Praising the process, not just the result. So, you know, the fact that they've tried to get their trousers on up and down, that's part of the process. The fact that they maybe tried to make it to the potty but didn't quite, it's still the process. They're still trying. And make sure that your praise is very descriptive. So you're giving your child really important information about what they've done right. That is really key to successful partnership. And it's very easy with potty training to get frustrated, just to bark orders at them, to tell them what to do. And yet when you get your praise descriptive and you're positive with them, that's when you get the cooperation. And they're not going to be fearful of things when you're like that. So also about working in partnership is about acknowledging all their capabilities for play, their capabilities for being physical, what physically they can do, and their qualities. So with play, think about praising them for and acknowledging them for climbing up the slide. So that's both physical and also, you know, developmental. They want to play. What games they like to play. Do they like to do puzzles? What things that they can physically do for themselves? Can they reach things? Can they feed themselves? Can they jump? Can they run? All those kind of things is acknowledging all their capabilities. And a child that feels capable is a child that's going to want to be more independent and to want to be more grown up. Because they feel that they're able. So it's a really, really positive cycle. So again, make a note of this, acknowledging play, acknowledging what they can do physically, and acknowledging their qualities. So things like kindness, helpfulness, independence, determination, Those are the kind of qualities that you want to be acknowledging. And the quality around potty training is that perseverance. They want to try and they want to learn. So they've got an open mind. Those kind of qualities are really great to acknowledge. And empathy and understanding for reluctance and fears. So you may not have started and you may just be thinking, well, you know, potty training is straightforward, we've all done it. But actually, it isn't necessarily straightforward, or it isn't necessarily always straightforward. And if a child has a reluctance and a fear, you can really prolong the process and really make it unhappy. So, but when you show empathy and understanding for their reluctance and fears, you're going to reduce the fear. So I've said, do not meet resistance with resistance. So if you tell a child, don't be silly, don't be frightened, you just got to get on with it, that is not showing empathy and understanding. But if you show that you really are aware that what the things that they're frightened of or the things that they're reluctant to do, even if you feel it doesn't make sense, a child that will lower a child's resistance, and they'll feel like you're on board with them, and they feel like you're working in partnership with them. And this is not, I mentioned this before, but this is not just for potty training. If you've got a child that's reluctant to do anything, if you acknowledge the fear and if you acknowledge the reluctance and just put it into words, you will lower the resistance. So really important as well. And also, let's remember this, partnership makes potty training fun. Now, you might be thinking, fun? It's just a really dreary process. I just got to get those nappies off. But actually, partnership makes potty training fun. And when you've got these things in order and potty training goes smoothly and quickly, think about the environmental impact of you not only saving the environment by not putting those disposable nappies in landfill, or if you're using cloth nappies, not having to wash them and use water and electricity and soap. So the environmental impact and also the cost is really important. So when you get these things in order and you make that potty training smooth and effective and fast, think of all the money you've saved yourself and the environment. This is lovely. Gemma, who wrote to me to say a big thank you for seeing and helping us last night. It's really nice to talk to someone who knows what they're talking about, as there's a lot of unhelpful but well-meaning advice given. She said, you're very good at your job, and I don't know how you stay so calm with 4 children. I stay calm because I've got the tools, and that's what I feel. I feel equipped, and that really helps me stay calm. So that's about working in partnership. And now I want to come on to the pitfalls. So this is what you want to avoid. So you want to avoid a lack of preparation, because that's about jumping in too quickly and it may even trigger your child to withhold. And what I mean by withholding is children can withhold their urine, their wheeze, and they can withhold their poo. And that can set up quite dangerous physiological implications for your child. So they can get urinary tract infections, they can get impacted feces, impacted poo, and that's dangerous. So jumping in too quickly without preparation can really be in danger of triggering that. Having an unrealistic expectation of your child, again, you know, like I shared at the beginning, I had an unrealistic expectation that I could just do it without preparing, and it just went so wrong. And not knowing how to motivate your child. You might have a friend who said, oh, this is how I did it, and it was easy. And your child's different. So that's why, again, I said at the beginning, we'll be coming on to questions shortly, so stay with me. That's why I said at the beginning, that it's just, you know, this isn't about a one size fits all. This is about understanding your child and ways to get them on board with the potty training. And a second pitfall, it might be that your child's ready, but you're too nervous to start. You may be, because of that nervousness, missing the signs of readiness. It may be that your child is really showing you lots of signs of readiness, but you just haven't noticed because you're too worried about it being a difficult process. You may fear the mess. You fear that it's going to be a drawn out and frustrating process. So why would you start if you think that that's going to be the case? And you don't know what to do, so you just wait. So that's one of the pitfalls. And actually, if your child is ready, but you're too nervous, it doesn't have to be that way. Getting the communication wrong is what I'd call pitfall number 3. So trying to motivate your child in the wrong way, maybe by using comparisons, using that tone of voice, using threats or punishments. So when I say comparisons, things like everyone else of your age is ready, but you're not, or trained, but you're not. That's a comparison that is not going to motivate your child. We think it will, but it doesn't. In fact, very often it can cause the opposite effect. So using threats and punishments, I mentioned that at the end, that can often trigger fears and it can trigger resistance, and it can make the process much longer than it needs to be. The pressure on your child backfiring and causing resistance or regression. I've worked, the client I think I mentioned right at the beginning, she was really pressuring her child, and it really caused her child, who started and was just showing some good signs, it caused her to completely regress, and it took 6 months before she came to me and we sorted it out. But it didn't need to be that way. It can also cause your child to shut down emotionally if you get the communication wrong. And then they stop telling you things, and they hold things inside, their emotions. So that's a pitfall, getting it wrong. Pitfall number 4 is giving up too quickly. So that's because you don't necessarily know how to engage your child. You may be confusing your child with too many strategies. It feels like it's just not working, so you just give up. Or you don't have the right partnership with other child carers. So whoever else may be looking after your child, or perhaps it's another person, or somewhere where they go for daycare. If you don't have that partnership right, then you might just decide to give up, or not dealing effectively with regression. So those are the pitfalls, and I'll hope that you'd avoid those, because it can just make the process unpleasant and just too long unnecessarily, or cause an unhappy or resistant child. So here's what we've covered today. I've talked a lot, and like I said, I've got some questions coming up. So we've covered talking about stage, not age, understanding what stage your child is at, and that isn't in comparison to another child of the same age. Thinking about, do you remember talking about when they started walking? It was at the right stage for your child, and you did a lot to help them, I'm sure. The power of preparation, including the 6 steps to great preparation. We've also talked about working in partnership. So getting that partnership, that collaboration right, and the 4 pitfalls to avoid to ensure that you're successful. I'm just going to take a drink of water. It's hot here. So that's what we've covered today. And let me ask you a question. I want to ask you, and tell me in the chat box, has your time so far on this training been well spent? So just give me a yes in the chat box. Just, you don't have to, some people are really reluctant to use that chat box. Only I see it, and just give me a yes if you felt that your time so far has been well spent. So great. Yeah, I've got some yeses coming up. Lovely. Yes, 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 yes. Excellent. Lovely. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm glad it's been well spent, but stay with me. So what I'd like to say now is that I will come to questions, so stay with me, but also just wanted to say, so you have 2 options. Take what I've taught you here today, have a go at it yourself, and try to get it working on your own. And there's a second option. What if I was to personally help you through the entire process? What if I took an active role, like I've described with some of these testimonials that I've been talking about? What if I took an active role in your results and worked with you to help you achieve this for yourself? How does that sound? So if that sounds interesting, let me ask you another question. I have in the 45 minutes that I've been with you so far, I'm only able to cover so much. And I have something else that I wanted to talk to you about that goes into more depth about more things that I've got more that I want to talk to you about, basically. So are you okay with me telling you about something else that I've got on offer? Are you? So just say yes, yes, please, or yes. Okay, great. Yeah, lovely. So you're okay with that. Excellent. So here's what I want to talk to you about. I have devised a training called Potty Training and Beyond because, well, not only do I absolutely love helping parents potty train their child, but also I love bringing within that to mix the two, all the positive parenting techniques that I have worked with over the almost 20 years that I've been working with parents. I bring that in to the potty training, and I've talked about that already, but there's so much more to offer, and there's many more new concepts. Potty Training Beyond gives you strategies, facts, and top tips in modules, and we go over in detail all aspects of my potty training techniques. And I also talked about this toolkit. How do I remain calm? Because I've got a toolkit. So it's giving you a toolkit to equip you with an array of skills to use for life. That's what Potty Training and Beyond is about. And here's what you'll gain. You'll make potty training a smooth and successful process from start to finish. It gives you the confidence and the ability to stay calm, learning from others' mistakes, recognizing when your child is ready to potty train, and understanding your child and how to motivate him or her. And what I mean by just jumping back to learning from others' mistakes, because I've worked with so many different parents and they tell me the mistakes that they've made, it's allowed me to impart that to others. And also I've refined this process over so long. So I've really refined it and got it right. So recognizing when your child is, recognizing when your child is ready to potty training and understanding your child and how to motivate him or her. I may have said that already, sorry. And tools for life, tools for life for a strong connection and great communication with your child. Now, how does that sound? Having a strong connection and great communication with your child. Think about all the difficult areas of parenting that we face. If your connection's strong and you've got good communication, think how much more effective a parent you can be. And also what you'll gain from the program is dealing with setbacks and resistance, because you don't know when a setback might occur. So that's what you'll gain from Potty Training and Beyond. And here's what I have decided are the 3 things you need from a course and what you'll get with me. So you'll get detailed and simplified training. This isn't about anything too complicated, but it's got plenty of detail. You get support and coaching, and you get the learning how to make it easy. So those are the 3 things that underpin the course that I'm about to talk to you about. So Potty Training Beyond comes, these are the course modules. So module 1 is Get Ready. Super simple. Now, even if you've started, it's chock full. Module 1 is chock full of stuff that you'll still find useful. Super simple and effective ways to get started or restarted. Module 2 builds on Get Set, working together, partnership and collaboration with your child. And that's on many more levels than I was able to touch on tonight. How their body works. This is the brain-body connection that I talked about, the super science, and children absolutely love this. And I'm going to teach you how to work with that super science, how to teach your child about the brain-body connection. And that is so useful, not just for potty training. And motivation tactics and in building their emotional intelligence. And you've probably heard that in the press lately, there's an awful lot known now about how important it is to build a child's emotional intelligence. In fact, I go so far as to say that emotional intelligence is probably more important than intellectual intelligence. You might get a child who's a genius at maths, but you put them in a difficult situation and they don't have resilience. They don't know how to stand up for themselves. They don't know how to ask for help. So emotional intelligence is really, really important. Module 3, ready to go. So that's getting your wees and your poos in the right place at the right time, having your child feel confident and independent, how to go to it for it without the tears and frustration. And also this about getting everyone on the same page. So this is about the collaborating and in partnership with people who, other people who look after your child. And module 4, ironing out the creases. So there's, again, from all the information that I've gathered over the years, ironing out those creases and troubleshooting. So avoiding or dealing with constipation and withholding. So the course really covers all the bases. And you might be thinking, you know what, why don't I just get a book? And yes, you know, books will cover things, but within this course, it's audio visual. So you're hearing it from me, you're hearing the examples of the communication, and there's more. So I'm going to show you why it is very, very different for a book that you can buy for $8, $10. So Potty Training and Beyond has a price, but don't look at this price tag because I've got a really, really special offer coming up. So Potty Training Beyond with the 4 modules, the slide booklet, loads of printable posters and information, stuff that I've had designed that I've designed and I've tested it and children love it. And an ebook that I've personally written, The Complete Guide to Potty Training. So normally the value of just that, the modules and the books would be $450, but stay with me because, like I said, I've got a really special offer. This is what happens when you gain access to the members area. So when you're inside Potty Training and Beyond, when that's your program, you get a special login and you get access to the members area, which has got all the modules that I've just talked about and much more. So that's what it looks like to you, your own personal access. And I've added in some amazing bonuses. So I have collaborated with the nutritionist Zoe Kirby. You can check her out at zoekirby.com. She's absolutely brilliant. And I've recorded a consultation with her on nutrition for children's gut health and avoiding constipation or dealing with constipation. And Zoe gives some fantastic ideas and solutions to helping get your child's gut lovely and healthy through nutrition. And she's a mother of 3 and really knows what she's talking about. And normally the value of just that consultation alone would be $80, but it's not going to cost you that tonight. I've also got a second bonus, what I call the Norland Nanny Secrets. So this is Hetta Trollope, pictured the lovely redhead there. She is trained at Norland College. And Norland College is the #1 nanny training school in the world. And they have trained all the nannies that have gone to work for the royal family are Norland trained. So Hetta is talking to me about the Norland approach, which is very much aligned with mine, but it's really, really interesting to hear how the nanny would approach potty training. And yeah, it's a great consultation. And I've also recorded a consultation with somebody called Rebecca Maddox, and she consults with daycare on all kinds of ways to help daycare she helps to improve what daycare centres do with their children. And she's talking to me about how to collaborate, how to get that collaboration with your daycare, how to get that partnership with the daycare, so, or nursery, you might call it, so that you're all on the same page. So that, and the third module, that's the second module, and that is a value of $80. The third module is that I've personally recorded what I call a chill out relaxation for stressed parents. It gives you 10 to 15 minutes just listening with your earphones or putting it on speaker to really deeply relax. And when we feel relaxed, we're just so much better as parents. And I've specially recorded that for you. I trained many years ago to teach relaxation and stress management. So I've specially recorded that for parents of young children. And that would normally be, to access that would normally be a value of $30. There's another bonus. It's the Facebook private members group. So when you join Potty Training and Beyond, you get access to a private members group on Facebook. That's just for this community. And you get from me ongoing support. So I jump on to answer your questions, to give you some extra tips, to really be there for you. And you also get support from other members of the community and you motivate each other. It's a fantastic resource. And normally just membership of that alone would be worth $150, but it's not that tonight. Plus, and this is a very, very spend-time introductory offer. This training is relatively new. And so at the moment, and this really won't last for long, I'm offering a 30-minute consultation with me. Now, to get me on my own would normally alone cost $245. And this is included in the package. So it is a 30-minute consultation directly with me. And that is one of the bonuses. And this is a quote from the lovely Helen, who has recently done the program. And she said to me, I've gone through the 4 modules and listened to a couple of the bonus items too, not all of them. And it's great. It's been really helpful in refocusing how I'm thinking about it all. And we've started to talk to Josh about it in the ways that you suggest. She was restarting. So she said, we're basically in resetting and preparation mode at the moment. And I'm really happy to have invested in the program. So thank you so much. And in fact, she subsequently wrote to me and said they're totally on track. He's dry and clean and all ready. But that happened to come in at a different point. So the total value of the course, including all the bonuses, is well over $1,000. And I've reduced it down, which to normally costing $195. However, and this is only going to be for a very short while, a very short window, in the next few days, I'm giving a really special introductory price of 33% off. So that brings it down to just $130. So you've got over $1,000 value of training for investment of just $130. If you're here in the UK, that's approximately 103, 104 pounds, depending on the exchange rate. These are US dollars. That's $103. And that's when you put in the discount code WebClass33, okay? And I'm going to show you in a minute how you can do that. Or you can do a payment plan of $50 a month. That's approximately £40 a month for 3 months. So I just want to put something up for you. Okay, so I've just put up how you can access the Potty Training and Beyond offer. But remember that you need to put in WebClass33 to get your extra discount. So normally it's $195, but when you put in WebClass33, it brings it down to $130. So that's taking 33%, a third off the normal price, which is a vastly reduced price anyway. So I also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. I'm so confident that you will get value from this Potty Training and Beyond digital training that I'm offering a money-back guarantee. And I can't offer the money-back guarantee to say you will definitely potty train your child. But once you've gone through the whole program, if you're not satisfied with it, I will give you a no-quibble 30-day money-back guarantee. So I now want to come on to questions. So ask me the questions that you have in the chat box, and I'm staying here and I'm really, really happy to answer your questions. I've just put back up there a recap of what the Potty Training and Beyond involves. So there it is. It's all the modules, the recorded modules. They're recorded in 5-10 minute bite-sized pieces, so you can access them when you want to. You can stop and start. And then there's within the membership area are all those bonus sections about the gut health, the Nola Nanny secrets, the transition to daycare, the chill out audio. You then, of course, as I said, get access to the private members group. And when you're ready, we set up the 30-minute consultation with me. So I've put up the offer. You'll see that in your chat box if you're ready to go for that. Remember the web class 33. And now ask me your questions. So type in your questions in the chat box, and I'm here to answer them. They can be questions about potty training, or they can be questions about the program. So either the program or potty training. So Rebecca, my son tells me when he's done a poo and sometimes when he's doing one. Is this the right time to start, or does he need to tell me when he's about to? Rebecca, that's a really good question. Other signs of readiness, because he may, the fact that he's telling you afterwards, it's telling you that he's got a body awareness, but really what you need to know is when is before. So one of the signs of readiness, and I couldn't go over them all tonight, but within the Potty Training and Beyond program are loads and loads of other signs of readiness. And I'd say it's really more about that they've got their awareness before they've done it. So hopefully that answers your question. Anybody else got some questions? Okay, I've got Diana saying, should I use trainer pants? So that's a good question, Diana. So trainer pants are quite expensive. There's pull-ups, which are the disposables, which really act exactly like a nappy. And when you're ready to start potty training, my advice is just to get rid of them all. So therefore, trainer pants are sometimes seen as what you would use when you're starting to get ready for potty, when you remove the nappy. I'd say they're quite an expensive investment, and it's all about the preparation, and it's all about teaching your child about the mind-body connection. And therefore, I don't think that you need to use trainer pants. So that's the answer to your question. Now, I think some of you may have asked questions before down in the chat. Somebody said, my daughter is 3.5 and she isn't cooperative. What should I do? Well, that is about getting her on board, getting her motivated. It's about how you communicate with her. It's about knowing your daughter. And there will definitely be ways to cooperate with her. And again, in the Potty Training and Beyond course, I've been able to give you lots and lots of different ways to get your child to be motivated and cooperative. Okay, here's another question. Should I use a potty or a toilet seat? It's very individual. So sometimes I like the position of a potty, particularly for poos, because their legs are quite dangly when they're sitting on a certainly a high adult toilet seat. And that sometimes doesn't get them into the right physiological position for doing poos. So, but if your child is really keen on sitting on the toilet, I do recommend an insert. And the offer that the special Baby Beyond offer is that anybody that purchases the Potty Training and Beyond course will be given the choice of a potty or an toilet seat insert by Baby Beyond. So, and those are very valuable, actually. It's a great make. So they have an insert, but other companies make inserts, and I think they're quite good to make sure that your child is stable. Any other questions coming up? Just move my thing down. Okay. Outdoor wheeze, what do you think? Somebody's saying. I am a big believer in it is easier for boys, but some people are quite, they don't like the idea. They think it's kind of gives the child the wrong message. But for me, when a child's a little tot, we're not really going to be worrying about whether they're urinating in the street when they're 17 years old and drunk. So I would say if they like that idea, they want to wee up a tree, or if the little girl is out and you want to hold them to do a wee in the open air, by all means go for it. It's all about working with your child and sort of judging what's best for them. Okay, so I've got some other questions. I've just had a new baby, someone's asked. Should I start now? Well, I would say if you've just had a new baby and you haven't done any preparation, that isn't a good time to start. You could certainly, if you just had a new baby, you could start on the preparation side, and in the Potty Training and Beyond course, there's a whole big section on the preparation. So by all means start with that. But if you've done some preparation, but not perhaps a lot, and you've just had a new baby, you might want to put it on hold for a little bit, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Just see, it depends on how well your child is adapting to the new baby and how stressed you are, because that is going to, think about the sponge, that's going to have an implication on how your child is going to respond. If you're very, very distracted or stressed, then I'd say put a hold on it. Okay, another question. Are boys and girls different? Well, I really think it's a lot more about the temperament of your child rather than the sex of your child. So are boys, do boys train younger than girls? Not necessarily. It's all to do with your child's temperament and your child's, when that child is ready. So I don't distinguish between the two. Here's a good one. Sorry, I'm just going to have a little drink. My son is 3 years old and 3 years and 3 months. He's fully trained for pee, but refuses to do poop on the potty. He'll only poo in a pull-up. That's a really common one. So this is from Dar es Salaam. Dar es Salaam, that's a really, really common one. And what I would say is don't fight it. So don't meet resistance with resistance, like I talked to you before. I would, for the moment, go with it. Again, within the program, there's a lot to help you lower the resistance and help reduce the fear, because it'll be around some kind of fear. And when you're empathetic about those fears and you use the right communication, you can really reduce that resistance and you can motivate them to do it in the right place. But I wouldn't insist on it right now. But it's a great question. Okay. Another question is, should I use stickers to motivate my child? Stickers or sweeties? I'm not a big fan, particularly of sweeties. First of all, I don't like using food as a reward. I can go into that and talk about that endlessly, but I haven't got time for that now. But I just think that you can motivate them in so many more ways. And it's about the child wanting to get it right themselves, not in order to perform, to get the sticker or to get the sweetie. So you're coaching them to be in what I call intrinsically motivated. So they've got that body awareness, they need to use the toilet, and the reward is that the satisfaction of doing that. So I wouldn't be a big fan of stickers. Okay, so one final question. Is it a sign? So here we go, sorry. Okay. Is it a sign of intelligence whether my child is going to be trained young or not? I.e., if my child is very bright, does that mean they're going to be trained early? Actually, not at all. I've worked with parents whose child is extremely vocal, extremely bright cognitively, but emotionally and physically they just weren't ready. And I've worked with children with real learning difficulties, and they've just had developmental delays, and they've just got it. So it isn't necessarily about it has nothing to do with your child's intelligence, is what I meant to say. Okay. So are there any more questions before I sign off? Because I've been on for quite some time, and some of you may still be there, but I'm not sure because I can't tell from the chat box who's there. But if you've got questions, I'm very, very happy to answer them. And I think that that's probably come to the end. So unless you've got a question, I'm going to sit around for a little bit, but if you've got a question, stick it in the chat box. If you'd like to purchase, don't forget, remember Web Class 33, which you'll be taken to the checkout page, and you just need to make sure you put the discount code in. And it's been really lovely having everybody on tonight. I absolutely love giving these web classes. I love imparting my knowledge. I am really, really proud of the Potty Training and Beyond program that I have worked a long time in producing. And it gives you just such an opportunity to learn skills for now and the future. So thank you so much for joining me. What I'm going to do now is just sit here and, okay, oops. One last question. Rebecca has asked, should you focus on daytime potty training first? And if so, when would you move into nighttime training? Brilliant question, Rebecca. Yes, definitely. This is about daytime potty training. I'm not even touching on nighttime. Actually, I cover it. I don't even think I cover it in Potty Training and Beyond. I think I cover it a little bit, but this is very much about getting you prepared for getting everything communication-wise right and getting the potty training right. And the nighttime training comes 6 months plus after daytime training, other than some exceptional children. But yeah, I would say 4+ is about when you're looking at nighttime training. But that's a great question. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Well, I'm going to be sitting here just quietly. And if you do have another question, do ask me and I'll answer it. But I'm going to just sit quietly until... oh, great. Okay. So again, Rebecca says, thank you. Really helpful session. That's great, Rebecca. I'd love to help any of you further through the program, but it's been a real pleasure having you on the session tonight. So thank you so much for joining me.